Namaste and welcome to Dragonfly Cookery and Knives. This is the third video in our series of top 10 cookeries available on the market today. Now the first one was we dealt with production cookeries and the top 10 list there. These are cookeries that are only made by manufacturers of knives such as Kbar, BK Becker, Cold Steel, companies like that. Charade. And then, in video number 2, we did the top 10 list based on the handmade cookeries that are coming from Nepal, from the commies there. So those are hand-built, and they're not being mass-produced like a production cookery is. And that was a little bit more difficult because there are a lot of commies out there making excellent product. And it was hard to select the top 10 from the offerings that I have in my possession because so many of them are so excellent. And it really, you have to go through a fine-tooth comb to find the top 10 because all of them are so close. And in many cases, I ended up having to do tiebreakers just among the 10 because they were so in par with one another. In this one, it's going to be a lot more subjective because it's just my pick from both of those lists. Now, I want to say one thing that, I have lots of other cookeries, and some of them aren't made anymore by either the production companies or they're other cookeries that the commies that are mentioned here have made, but they're no longer either available to the public's purchase ability, like some of the Torah blades have disappeared, and yet they're relatively current. I mean, they may be, a couple of years ago, that was a model that they were offering, and they're not offering it anymore. So some of those cookeries I might actually put on this table. But the cookeries that I have present here that I'm going to be presenting to you in my personal top 10 is all based off of both of those top 10 lists. Now this is kind of a strange approach to a top 10. Top 10 is a top 10, come on. Why are you doing a top 10 here and a top 10 there and then combining them together and make another top 10? I don't know. It's because, I think mostly because we judge the production product different than we do from the handmade product. And each of them should be evaluated separately if you're going to go among, like the top 10 handmade cookeries or the top 10 production. But in this particular video, where I'm combining both and coming up with a top 10 that would include or exclude all or some of what was on those lists. It also might put them in a different category, like number 2 might be number 10, it just all depends, because now this is a little bit more subjective. I've already put all these cookeries through my criteria list, and I'll reiterate what that criteria list for those who might be just coming into this video first and haven't watched the other ones. What all these cookeries were judged by, and the other, like the top 10 of the production and the top 10 of the handmade cookeries, was by a 12-point system. And that 12-point was weight, size, materials, comfort of use, performance, eye appeal, carry system, strength and durability, balance, like in all the handmade cookeries you saw them all balancing on the tip of a nail. And designs, form follows function, how well do they, being a designer myself, I look at things that way, and I think, well, as a designer, if I designed this knife, do I feel that it fulfilled its task? There's one in the selections of the handmade cookeries that I had a lot to do with the design of it, and I was very, very critical of myself about it. But as I began to use it, and I saw how Raju had built it, sold me to actually look at it in an objective way and say, you know what, this actually does work. The design that I intended actually was successful. And as a designer, there's nothing more pleasing to find out that one of your designs actually worked. and did even goes beyond what you intended it to do. So that's always a pleasant thing. And as a designer, I have one. I have a couple of those that I had some input that actually do what they're supposed to do and what our design intent was. Sharpness. And then last but not least, number 12 was the price. Is it a budget friendly? Is it going to cost you a lot? And is it worth the value of that? That type of thing. So another thing I want to talk about and kind of lay some groundwork. When I'm looking at these subjectively, and I'm looking at them in, okay, this is my top 10. These are my top 10 that I would be thinking about as my survival knife, as a knife that I'm actually going to put in my bug out bag. Or I might have it right next to my bed that I'm going to use to, if the fireman came to my door and pounded on my door and said, you got to evacuate now, you got to get out of here because your house is about ready to go. There's, maybe there's a propane tank next door and it's about ready to explode. And I don't have much time to grab anything. And I have a kukri right next to my bed that is one of my, go-to kukris. And I grab that and I run out the door. Am I going to be happy with it? Is it going to be something that will serve me well if I'm, naked and cold in the wilderness and I have to build a shelter and I have to build my fire and everything? Can I do it with this kukri? So I'm thinking of these kukris in that capacity. Another thing is I look at it through a philosophy of use. My general philosophy of use is I go by a 3-knife system. I'll have a pocket knife in my pocket, a belt knife, which is an EDC knife like the one I'm holding up here, or which is was built by Bark Rivers, or maybe my Work Tough Gear knife, or perhaps even one of my less expensive but very useful Mora knife or Martinelli knife, that are great bushcraft knives. But if I have one of those, my pocket knife and a kukri, that is my happy place. Okay, and that's where I feel I'm going to have a knife for all my uses, all my purposes, and I can do just about anything and make just about anything with them that I can survive with. So, but we all kind of dream about that one tool option, that one knife that can do everything. You don't have to carry 3 knives, you can just have that one knife. And I think a kukri comes pretty darn close to that one knife system because it can do so many things so well. So in my top list, I based it upon what I feel is a really good knife, a really good package in its system, and one that I would personally put in my bug out gear or my camping gear. I actually use these, and I would continue to use them and put my life on. And like I said, there's other kukris in my collection that would be on this table with equal value and everything, but they're not necessarily available to you. So these are all kukri that you could go out and purchase, with the exception of one of them, which is in a upgrade stage right now. And as soon as they finish that upgrade and it hits the market, it's going to be available to you. And it's going to be identical, except for the steel is going to be better. That's all. And it's not that it had bad steel. It had great steel. They just wanted to make it even better. Bark Rivers does that a lot too, and a lot of companies do, is that they have a really excellent steel, and then they go and they try to find another super steel and another one, and then they do like 3 or 4 models of the same knife, but just with different steels. Bark Rivers does that a lot, and it's great because it gives you a good education too as the quality of other steels. So without any further ado, I'm going to start with number 10. Number 10 was actually number 2 on the production list, and this is the Kbar fighting knife. It's made out of 1095 high carbon steel, has a Cordura scabbard with MOLLE compatibility with a plastic insert that allows for ambidextrous carry. So in other words, if you're as they call a southpaw lefty, and it's hard to find a knife that allows you to carry or orientate it where it's comfortable for you to use, being left-handed. Well, this knife allows that. You can change the orientation, and it doesn't change anything about the quality of the scabbard or the quality of the knife. You can carry this left-handed or right-handed, which is awesome. That's really great, and that's why I have a hard time saying, replace this Scabbard. It's a really good Scabbard for the price range and for what you're getting. This is a small kukri. If I had to grab this and run out the door, I know what it's capable of doing. I know what I can do to survive with this knife. I know that I can build a shelter. I know that I can process my firewood. I know that I could whittle tent stakes or traps to get food. I can do a lot of things with just this knife. It may not be as big as the others and as strong as others as far as weight goes, and in its performance it might be a little underperformed, but I could still build a shelter. I could still process firewood. I could still do a lot of chopping with it, and by choking back on it, it gives me even more leverage. So very, very good choice. And this one sells for $170, roughly around there. I'm sorry, not 170, $70. Under $100, you could have this knife, and you got a very, very capable knife, very good knife, and you don't have to really do anything to upgrade it. It's good to go. Hence why I like it a lot. The other one is one that I talked a lot about, and I actually said if it was on my list, it would probably be up a little bit higher. Well, it's not necessarily higher on my list, but it's definitely on my list, and that is the Ontario kukri. Not cookie, kukri. Ontario makes an excellent product, and they really knocked this out of the ballpark. Just did a fantastic job. 1/4 inch steel, 90-degree spine. It's a flat grind that comes down to a good edge for your secondary bevel there. It's really, really sharp. And it also is an outstanding chopper. And I mean, it really cleaves through the wood, leaves a nice smooth finish on the end. Comfortable handle, really ergonomic. There's no danger of your hand slipping up on the cutting edge with this finger guard here, and as well as with it's full tang encapsulated in this craton handle. You've got a bird beak pommel with a lanyard hole. You can choke back, get more leverage to get even greater striking inertia. What's great about kukris is that they are weight forward. You have your hammer fist, which is the way you're supposed to hold it. It's a hammer grip. So full grip, and you're not going to bend your wrist much in getting that sweet spot on your cutting edge to your target. And also the way that it bends and the inertia and the weight, you don't have to put a lot of muscle mass behind it. All you have to do is allow that kukri to carry that inertia, to use the physics in your favor, and you're going to save a lot of wear and tear and calorie usage in the use of the kukri. This sells in the $50 range, okay, on Amazon. So for $50, you are getting an outstanding kukri that's really going to be useful and last you a lifetime, and it didn't cost you an arm and a leg to own it. The Scabbard's not the best. It is a rigid Khdora Scabbard with rivets on the side to keep it from cutting through. Single snap closure, slit on the top, but you do end up with some slippage. It does slide. Fortunately, it doesn't slide enough to where it exposes cutting edge to you. But if this snap comes off and you roll down a hill or whatever, and that snap gets unsnapped, you've lost your kukri. Now you got to go back up the hill to try to find it. And that's where this will fail you. However, I have another kukri here, and this is just for demonstration purposes. This one is actually one I probably wouldn't do it unless I really, felt that this tool would be the better tool. This is no longer in production. It was made by Mike Stewart when he had blackjack knives, which he still does have, but he's not making this particular model anymore, either of them. This is a great kit. Now, this particular kukri is an excellent kukri designed by Mike Stewart. It's made out of AUS 8 stainless steel, and it's very good. I've chopped with it, no rolled edges, no chips. However, I'm not a big fan of stainless steel being used in a kukri, although this one shows that it's, it's been very durable and everything. So I may want to set this kukri aside and put a kukri that is a little bit heavier, has a 1/4 inch spine, and it is a high carbon steel like a 1095 high carbon steel. Well, this kukri, if I put it in this scabbard, which is a leather scabbard, push it all the way in, it fits it perfectly, and look at the retention. There is no chance that that is going to fall out. I have to pull it out. Even with this retention strap, which does come around and snap it, let's say I rolled down a hill and it was really quite a roll, and it ended up coming out of the scabbard a little bit. That will keep it from completely falling out. I don't lose my kukri, but it might expose some cutting edge. It could be dangerous, so I have to think before I grab this scabbard to see whether my knife is there or not, because I might be grabbing that cutting edge. But that's if I really took a hard fall. For normal care and everything, if I'm walking through the woods with this on my belt, that kukri is not going to come out until I pull it out. So this is a great secondary purpose. You have an old scabbard lying around, leather scabbard or whatever, that you're not using, or you don't ever use that kukri or that knife that's in it, but it will fit your kukri. You can repurpose it, and you can actually upgrade yourself without any money coming out. This particular kukri, though, let's say you just left it as is with the Khdora scabbard that it comes with. You've still got an excellent, outstanding knife that only costs you in the $50 range. Now, let's say you're going like I do with my 3-knife system, and of course it's a production blade, and a lot of the production blades, with exception like this one, comes with an excellent secondary knife. You don't have any other additional tools, so you may need to carry an EDC with it that you would carry from your belt like I do, and also your pocket knife, and then you're good to go. Let's say this one only costs you $50. You go on Amazon and you look for a Mora knife, which is a great secondary knife that costs you $15. You're still $65, and you got 2 excellent knives that will service you really well. So philosophy of use and value for the dollar, you can't. This is really hard to beat. $50 range, you're really doing great, and you got an excellent tool. Add another $15 for a Mora, and you got a great kit. Okay, that was number 9. Number 8 is actually the kukri that came in number 2 on the handmade kukris. This was designed and made by Barun Borelli at Kotang Kukri Handicraft. This is a fantastic kukri, and I called it a medium to light chopper, but actually when I took it out there again today, and I really wailed on some seasoned hardwood, and it cut through it really nice and really good and kept a nice smooth edge. It wasn't smashing it. No edge damage whatsoever. So this will take quite a bit of abuse. I would call it a full service kukri. Absolutely. It's not as long as some of the other contenders, but it is beautifully made. The only reason why I would say that it came in on number 8 is because it's a little too beautiful. When I select a kukri and I'm taking it out, and I know that, like for instance, what I would take this one out for would be like trail hikes, like a day hike, or going backpacking. Although it would function very well going, taking it hunting or taking it as a survival knife, it'd be fantastic. It would work really great. Of course, it's only this kukri, doesn't have any accessories, so you'd want to partner it with another EDC knife like this Martinelli or this Bark Rivers, one of my favorite EDC knives that I carry. Put that on your belt. But this would really do a great job. The reason why I would probably not take it is only because it's too beautiful with all this brass and everything on it. It's a gorgeous knife. It's actually a work of art, as well as a 100% functional kukri. Now, let's say you're out hiking or backpacking with this kukri, and it would be a great companion for that. And you're not always wearing gloves, okay, and you go and you use this kukri and your hands are sweating and you got sweat on there, that's going to change the color of your brass on this. So you may actually start getting, might turn green on that. Now you got to go and polish it and all that stuff, and it already looks really pretty. So that's just where I would kind of, this is such a great kukri, but I'd be kind of more careful where I'm going to take this. Now, that one that came in on number, let's see, that was 10, 9, 8. This is number 7. This was a collaborated design effort with Neem Tangi and myself from Gurkha Blades. We took an old kukri, a hanshi, that probably was probably rehandled and in use roughly around World War I era, which is when aluminum was being used quite a bit, and sometimes in the handles. It had a small aluminum handle, but the blade profile was exactly like this. The only difference is I did put a 1/4 inch stock, had him put a 1/4 inch stock when he built it, so that it would be a durable and strong kukri. Now, if I have a knife that has a 1/4 inch spine on it, I don't worry about this knife breaking on me. I know it's going to be strong and durable. 1/4 inch is a very good thickness for a knife blade. It can be a little bit on the heavy side, however, it's strong and durable. Now, with the slender profile of this blade, you're getting the strength of a 1/4 inch stock steel blade, but you're getting that slender and light profile. I think this one came in at 335 grams in weight. Design intent, purpose behind it, the form follows function, is that this was designed to be, my intention of this blade was to be a trail knife for day hikes, backpacking. You could definitely take this and feel confident that you got a kukri that will process your firewood. You build a shelter. You can feather stick. You could also, fillet a fish with it, and fillet a trout up there in the backwoods, and have the confidence that this is going to service you well and it's not going to break or fail you on it. Full stick tang that goes all the way to the end is peened at the end, so you got a very strong and durable knife. We lengthened the handle. We changed the handle material from horn and wood. You have a choice there. This year we're going to bring in the aluminum, so you'll have 3 choices of handle material for this kukri. But it's really, really great and can function really, really well. And I was wailing on that hardwood today with this, and it was doing everything that the heavier kukris were doing. It was chopping slices off the sides of that wood and leaving a nice polished edge, and no roll or chip damage to the edge. And I didn't feel like I was going to break my knife. It was great. Worked really, really well. And it comes with an excellent knife that services as a secondary EDC knife. It has a good curve to it. You could fillet the fish with it. You could do your feather sticks. It's got a substantial spine on it, so you can really press on it and do push cuts. And 90-degree spine, you can throw sparks off a ferro rod. But you also have your chakmak that can do that also. So all in all, this is, I feel very confident with this, and this is one that I actually keep by my bedside. It's a great martial arts tool, but it's also a great survival knife. So they come knocking on my door, guess what knife I'm grabbing? Probably, I have 2, so I grab this one and the other one I walk out the door with 2. But that is providing I couldn't grab any of my, survival bags or, my bug out bags, which also have kukris in them. And so then it might be that one and another kukri in the bag, but I'm grabbing something and heading out that door as quickly as possible. So that was number 7. So number 6 on the list was actually number 1 on the production list, and that is the Gurkha Kukri made by Cold Steel. Outstanding kukri, hard to go. If this was the only kukri you had, you would be doing really, really well. It's an excellent, excellent kukri. Having this kukri and how well it works would probably whet your appetite to get a handmade kukri from Nepal. But, taking it against one of these and matching it against them, Even though this one is tempered and is also hardened, and it's used with a very excellent high quality tool steel, which is O1 tool steel. This is a very strong and durable, will not fail you kukri. Has a full tang encapsulated in this craton handle with a lanyard hole. Gives you very sure grip. It also is very comfortable and ergonomic. It's a heavy kukri, yet it isn't. It doesn't feel heavy in your hand. And so it really performs well. Along with its scabbard, which is the trademark patented design that Cold Steel came up with, of a hard plastic with a great locking system. Different lash points. You can lash it to your backpack. You don't have to carry it on your side. But if you do carry it on your side, you don't have to worry about your kukri coming out. It's a great locking system. Has a snap and Velcro belt loop. That's a good sized belt loop. Fits on your belt. Hangs well. You can take your whole kukri off your belt without taking your belt off. Snap that keeps it from smacking into your side when you're hiking with it. All in all, you cannot go wrong with this thing. It's a great, great package. But it's just that kukri. It doesn't come with any accessories. So again, you would carry an EDC knife. You could carry another Cold Steel. They make a lot of knives that are really great EDCs. Or, go even with great but low price. A Martinelli or a Mora knife will be great along with your folder. My folder EDC, by the way, happens to be a Cold Steel. So, I'd have two Cold Steels there and something else, so just, for thought, it's when a company makes something really well, they don't just make one thing really well, they make a bunch of things really well, and Cold Steel is one of those companies that make really great knives, and they've been around for a long time, since the 1980s, and they put their stuff through torture tests to just prove how good they are. I own a lot of Cold Steel, and I've only had one issue with one of their, actually two of their knife styles. They like to use a 411, I think it's, something crump steel. It's like 711-4 crump steel or something like that. I forget the actual name of it. But I have their kitchen set, and the blades have all warped, but I've had them since the 1990s, and I haven't had any chips, but I've had some of the tips break off. I've had, so it's not the most incredible steel, and that's one that I'm not too crazy about. Although my son had a knife that I gave him with that same crump steel, and it did not fail him at all. It stayed sharp. It was really good, and he used it a lot when he was in the military. So, they make a very good product. All right, so that was number 6. Number 5 is one that Neem Tangi and I worked on together, based off of 3 kukris in my antique collection that I believe would probably be among the first of the MK1s or the Mark 1s that were where the British were trying to standardize the kukris that the Gurkhas were using. They all had 3 fuller lines up at the spine, and they all had the same cowdy and a very similar blade shape. They were at that time a half tang. Now we make a half tang, plus we make the full rat tail tang like this one with a keeper on the end. Reason why I like this a lot is because of the comfort. This fits my hand. It is so comfortable in my hand. It's more comfortable than this nice ergonomic handle that Cold Steel puts on theirs. This one is, there's no rough feeling or anything to it. The wood is very smooth, but it has that good handshake feel to me, and that's really important. I've had friends ask me, what would you recommend is the best handgun to get? And I used to do cowboy action shooting, and I also used to go out and do other types of target shooting with guns. I still do, but not as often as I used to. And I'd had friends ask me, at the range, what gun do you think is the best gun, and what gun do you think I should get? And my comment to them is, And they'd ask me about name brands. He might say, what do you think about the Glock or whatever? And I'd say, it all depends upon how that fits in your hand. How does it feel to you? If it's comfortable in your hand and you feel like you have good control of that gun, the weight and everything in your hand, that's going to be the gun you're going to hit the target with on a consistent basis. Whereas if you have something that's uncomfortable in your hand, it's not going to be comfortable to you, and it won't be the right choice, even if it's a Glock. So to me, this kukri is one of those kukris that fits my hand perfectly. It was built just excellent. So that, in first and foremost, is one of the key reasons why it's on this table. The other thing is I went ahead and I started chopping on the log again and really wailing on it the same way that I was doing with the cold steel. And the cold steel was doing an excellent job, and this actually edged out a little bit ahead of the cold steel, did better. And one of the reasons is that with the cold steel, I noticed there was some little micro rolls on it after the torture that I was putting it through. This particular one did the same quality of chops, the same amount of strikes, everything, and no rolls, no anything to the edge. It's still as razor sharp as it was before I went out there. And I'm being really nitpicky about that, but it actually outperformed a hardened and tempered steel versus a tempered, just a hardened steel. So it did really, really good. And it comes with an excellent carta that has a great grind on it. It's a spear point, thick spine, 90-degree spine. You could throw sparks with a ferro rod on it. The handle fits your hand really good. So this package with this little knife here and the chalk buck, you don't really need the secondary belt knife on your belt. You could carry this along with your folder. Now, another nice thing about that I really like about this is that you could slide the kukri right out of the frog while the frog's on your belt, set it aside when you're sitting down. When you get ready to go, you pick it up, put it in your frog, and you're good to go. Form follows function better than the snap and Velcro, where you have to work with the Velcro and the snap to get it off, and then to put it back, you have to work with the Velcro and the snap to connect it. If I had to do it fast, I could do this one faster than I could do this one. So form follows function much better in that regard. But both are really good. Okay. Number 4 on the list is one that I designed that Roger Borelli, who works with me exclusively at Dragonfly Cookery and Knives. I designed this. He built it. Now, I mentioned in the last video on the production that as a designer, you lay it out, you have this idea, you think it's going to work really good, and you're not really the builder, you're going to give it to somebody else who's going to build it, and you're hoping that it's going to come out really good. You're hoping that handle design or whatever that you did is going to function exactly the way that your intent was. And when I first got this back, I was a little nitpicky. I was looking at it going, it looks a little clunky, or it looks a little different. And, is it going to feel good? And I started taking it out and I started using it. The more that I used it, the more that I liked it. And the more that I appreciated Roger Borelli's ingenuity of being able to take my design and put it together in such a way that it really worked. And he did a fantastic job doing it. This design works. It's a very well-balanced blade. The balance point's right there. When you choke up on it, you don't have to put your finger up and your thumb on the spine, but you can. You could hold it right here, and you have great balance with it to do your whittling, to do your notches. I sharpen pencils with this, and it chops, and it slices right through the wood and leaves that nice polished edge on that hard wood when I tested it. Very, very, very good, and I really like it. I would grab it, definitely. And it comes with a great chalk buck and a great, very useful carta. Now, this carta has a really pronounced curve, very similar to its, the parent blade, and it kind of reminds me of a crambit. So, you have some martial arts skills. You could definitely use this as a self-defense weapon. But first and foremost, it's a tool that can be used for skinning, for filleting your fish, for doing your notches and your you could even do your feather sticks and your there's enough of a 90-degree spine on this that you could actually do some fuzz sticks with it. It's good. So all in all, the package is excellent and does a very, very good job. And I have a lot of confidence in it. And I designed it. So if I design it and I have the confidence to take it with me, then, I can actually say this is a knife that I would take. I've heard Mike Stewart refer to the Golok that he designs and makes for Bark River's knife. And when asked, when he's going hunting, what tool he takes, he definitely takes his Golok. He says, I can do everything with this Golok. This is my go-to knife. And that it's his design, and yet he feels it, he pulled it off. He knocked it off to where he could actually say, this is a knife I use, and this is a kukri I use. I'm very pleased with how successful the design came out, and Roger did a fantastic job. Number 3 on the list is no great surprise, and actually it was number 3 on the Handmade Kukri list. This is Khalid's blade. It's the Pensioner, 13-inch blade, 5-inch handle, wood handle with the Kydex scabbard. This is an awesome kukri. Very, very comfortable in the hand. I put it in the same comfort level as the Gallipoli battle kukri that Tangi and I did together, as well as the Garuda kukri that Raju Borelli and I did together. This is equally comfortable in the hand. It won't create any hot spots. You know where your hand is on the handle. You have great control over the blade. And the profile of the grind, it's, flat grind underneath this chira, this fuller, and comes down to a beautiful convex edge. Now, I put the performance edge on this. This is what I requested from Khalid. And Khalid's site will tell you that the performance edge, isn't going to be as durable as the standard edge or the heavy-duty edge. However, I have really put this kukri through a lot of punishing strikes on hardwood, on a variety of different material, and I have never had a rolled or chipped edge. This performance edge works fantastic. So, they do a great job in their heat treat, and it's a great kukri, and I really like the scabbard. It's very modern, so you're taking a good traditional kukri and putting it in a modern scabbard, and you have a modern carrying system that can be lashed to a backpack or carried on your side, and it hangs quite well, and great retention. You're not going to have to worry about this falling out. Now, of course, this one doesn't come with a karda or a chakmak, so a secondary carry knife along with your pocket knife, so a 3-knife carry system works really good with this one. Then number 2, which was number 1 in the in the handmade kukris, was the Mutiny kukri made by Khalid's blades. This one is just an awesome, beautiful, well-made, well-balanced kukri. And like the Pensioner, it just slices through the material. Again, you have that chira up here at the spine with a flat grind that comes down to a beautiful convex edge. Perfect heat treat, because I was really wailing on this. I was trying to see if, I might get a little bit of a roll, a little bit of a nick on the blade, and nothing. It is absolutely 100% beautiful, polished blade that doesn't even show that I used it. No scratches or anything. And highly recommend it. Horn handle, no steel butt plate. So this is my only caveat with this in taking this and doing it as an everything knife, is that if I were to drop it, I could chip this and ruin this beautiful handle that's on it. But it's an outstanding, beautiful kukri, and I love it, and it won't fail you. The number 1 kukri is a kukri that is made by Barun Borelli. This is the Barun Borelli Special. It's a Duchira panwall style. It's a full tang. This any full tang knife is a knife that is as strong as a knife can be. You're not going to have any failure in the handle or through the blade. It's a one continuous piece of steel. So this is going to be a very strong and durable survival tool. This will do everything you would ask it to do, and then some. And the balance point is so good, it's right where that finger choil is. You have a 90-degree spine to throw sparks of a ferro rod. And you've got the chirras that keep it nice and light. Even though it's one of the heavier blades, you don't feel the weight. And yet when you're chopping, there's a lot of inertia that comes through where you don't have to use a lot of muscle mass, and you don't have to worry about damaging or putting injury on your wrist. It's going to chop through the material and do it exceptionally, extremely well. And it does come with excellent sheath, scabbard, well made. Comes with a nice carda, has a Scandi grind, 90-degree spine on it, thick enough. It's not going to fail and break on you. It's just a little bit on the small side. So in this particular one, I would probably still carry a belt knife, a little EDC knife, and I would also carry this and my pocket knife. So I'd actually have a 4-knife system. But this is an outstanding, he did such a great job. And even if the scales were to come off, over long periods of use, you could still have a functional knife that you could wrap with cord or you could put new handles on, and it would still function perfectly for you. So that is my top 10 list, and hopefully it's going to be give you some good input to when you're going out there and you're trying to select your first kukri. Any of these kukri that I have mentioned here will be a great fit. They will service you a lifetime and then some. You will pass it on to your son and your children's children. Every single one will not fail you. They're great for EDC kit. Not EDC, survival kit or bug out bag. They're great for hunters. They're great for backpackers and hikers. Fishermen, wherever you like to go out in the wilderness, this is a great tool to take with you. And if you're on a budget, you can't go wrong with this particular kukri. If you have $60 to spend, and that's it, and you want to get a good kukri, but you don't know which one, this is the one right here, Ontario's kukri. It's a great kukri and well worth the money. And then you can also partner it with a Mora knife for $15, and you've got a great system that will service you very well out in the wilderness and survival situation. If you got $100 or a little bit under $100, then the Kbar is an excellent choice. This Kbar fighting kukri. If you have $200, the Gurkha Cook by Cold Steel, when they come out with the A2 tool steel, is going to be an awesome choice, and you'll get it with under $200 with a little bit of pocket change. Same thing with the Khalid Pensioner with a Kydex Scabbard, runs about $190. None of the kukris that I have showed you here, even the handmade that are made just top notch, are still going to be under $200. So you're going to get a fantastic, usable survival tool that will work great for you. I hope you like this. This is just my top 10 of the top 10, and I'm sure if even out of my top 10, you might have different choices. Any of the kukris that were shown in all 3 videos would work very well for the person with their budget, and give them an excellent tool that they could depend their life on. So I hope you like this. Please like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. You can leave comments there. Also, you can leave comments at my Facebook page at Blue Dragonfly Trading Post. And please visit my website where some of these kukris that have been shown here in these videos is available. And that's at dragonflykukriandknives.com. Remember the commies in your thoughts and prayers. Right now, their forges are cold because they're staying home with their family like we are during this time of pandemic crisis. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully we'll be through this very soon, and you'll have the forges fire back up, and we'll be pounding the anvil again. So thank you very much. God bless. Stay home and stay safe and stay well. Thank you.